Happy Monday! It is Monday. It is the day that we all tell ourselves that, hey, come Monday, that's when I start. That's when I get up and go to the gym or start that diet that I need to get on. It's Monday. And you know what? Great. Monday's here, but you know what? At the end of the day, it's not about that, is it? Because we have every single moment, every single opportunity, every single second is a new moment, right? Where we can make a conscious and intentional attempt to move ourselves in the right direction. And there's always a choice to be made. One that moves us in a way that nourishes, that supports, that optimizes our lives, that gets us closer to the goals we set for ourselves. And then there's a slew of options. They're going to deter us, distract us, keep us away from that. So you know what? I'm going to ask you today to just think about that one thing. That one thing. Instead of overwhelming yourselves, I want you to think about what's your biggest domino. Meaning, if I hit that one domino for you, it should hit all the other ones in a fun little cool domino pattern. You can shape that pattern however you want. But what is your biggest domino? In other words, which area do you keep telling yourselves, hey, come Monday? Or you know what, at this point, guys, it's November. Let's face it. Most of us are going to be saying, hey, come New Year's, right? Come New Year's. What is the one thing that I need to optimize that's going to give me the biggest bang for my buck and improve and affect every other area of my life that I'm also trying to improve upon? And I'll give you an example, right? Because so many of you know by now that, and this is something that we can all relate to because let's face it, we all eat, right? We all eat food. We need to survive. Diet and nutrition affects every single organ, every single system. It affects the brain. It affects how we think, how we feel. Right? For a lot of people, if I were to say what is their one domino, well, it's very often their nutrition. Right? If I can optimize my gut function, I can improve my immune functions. I can lower inflammation, which of course has a cascading effect in terms of how I feel. And if I'm suffering other chronic health issues, those can start to get resolved as well. And then just our mental and emotional states, right? Because so much of what we actually put into the body is overburdened, overstressed physically, because we're putting in so many toxins. It depletes us of the resources we need to be able to think, to have clarity of mind, right? And there's certain things that can actually aggravate and influence and lead to elevated stress, anxiety, sometimes depression, right? Because depression very often is inflammation run rampant. Inflammation in the body, inflammation in the brain. So we address the inflammation by addressing the diet, and guess what? A lot of those things can start to resolve. And when those things start to resolve, a lot of other different things start to resolve themselves, because now suddenly I'm showing up differently perhaps in my relationship. Perhaps I'm able to perform better in my athletic endeavors or my academics. So it doesn't matter what it is, but I think we all know intuitively what it is that we need to personally focus on. What's your biggest domino? That's what I'm going to invite you to really think about today, because it gives us a place to start, doesn't it? Because when you have your big domino, guess what? Now we break that big domino into smaller chunks and smaller bite-sized pieces. So how do I work towards that? So it seems almost counterintuitive, because it's almost like I'm doing a total 180 with that. But the idea is to get you thinking, where is the area in my life that if I make improvements in this one thing, it's going to improve every other area in my life? Okay, so great. Now that I know that one thing, how can I break that one thing down into bite-sized chunks? Right? Bite-sized chunks, so that way I can actually chip away at it and make it a sustainable change without overwhelming myself, without telling myself, hey, come New Year's, I'm going to beat my body up 7 days a week, going to the gym, changing my diet, doing a total 180. No, that's not the goal, and that's not the point, and that's not sustainable. And I think after all of these years, we all know that's the case. So, what is your one domino? What is your one big thing that you know you can address? Just think about that for now. And then start to break it down into small little bite-sized chunks. Okay, how can I chip away at this every single day so I'm just 1% better every single day? 1% better, guys. That's all I'm saying. Because you know what? At the end of a year, you are 365% better. than when you started. So I leave you with that. Think about it, dwell on it. Honestly, if you want an insight into how I work with my clients, this is kind of it, figuring out what we need to address, and then figuring out ways and tools and practices and different individual ways to, actually tackle that. And do it in a way that we can personally do it, because I might be able to function and operate very differently than someone else might, and then that person might function and operate very differently than someone else, right? Because we all come in a little different, with a different history, a different past, with just different life circumstances, right? So there's certain things we can do, certain things we can't do, but we can all do something better tomorrow, and the day after, and the day after, than we are today. And that is what I'm going to leave you with. Now, if you do find yourselves actually kind of curious and want to talk a little bit more about what that is for you, and even if that means getting support in that area, and that's something that obviously many of you know I do, you are more than welcome to please schedule a free consult with me just to get a sense of what I'm about and how I can help you in that area. And I'll attach the link to my calendar, and we can go from there. So I leave you with that. I wish you the best. Mwah! Love you, and a great start to your week. Peace.